and you are. We are Citizen Outbreak. Welcome to the podcast.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, Matthew.
At a taco bowl at Trump Plaza.
All right. Little mariachi music for you there.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm having a little margarita. I know you don't drink, but I'm having one.
Fantastic.
Tastes good. Margarita for Cinco de Mayo. Do you do anything special for Cinco de Mayo or no?
This is it. This is how I'm celebrating today.
No, but normally, do you do anything for Cinco de Mayo?
Not that I remember. I don't think I've ever done anything for Cinco de Mayo.
No? All right, well.
What about you?
Normally we go to this Mexican restaurant, but today it's Monday, Cinco de Mayo. So my wife's making some Mexican food. Belarusian making Mexican food. Isn't that ironic?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of tacos?
I think chicken tacos.
Could have done this live in Jersey, man.
All right, let's get into the tacos of the day. The topics of the day. All right, we got. What's that? This is episode 11.
Episode 11. YouTube.
Episode 11. We're episode 11. On iTunes, Spotify. Again, buy the game. CitizenOutbreak.com.
Instagram, Citizen Outbreak. TikTok, Citizen Outbreak.
Everywhere.
Everything.
All right, let's get into these topics because we got a bunch of topics over here. All right, let's talk about. You like flying? I know you fly a lot.
Yeah, I hate the process. I hate everything. Once I'm in the air, I don't say I love flying, but I've gotten better.
Flying has become a real hassle. I think everybody agrees that you go to the airport and your plane is maybe on time 1 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
and you're battling the TSA, you're battling the lines, you're battling everything. Everything is a mess.
TSA. Yeah,
TSA is the worst.
Terrible.
And nobody has anything nobody has their shit together.
So I don't. Yeah, keep going. Tell me what's on your mind about the flying.
Well, did you hear this report about Newark International Airport?
Yeah.
So I was talking with my buddy Matt, not you, a different Matt.
Yeah.
And he's texting me and we're texting. I'm like, where are you? He's like, I'm at the airport. I've been here for a couple days. I'm like, what do you mean you've been here for a couple days? He's flying in from Fort Lauderdale and his plane's either been canceled or delayed. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, Newark. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Why?
Crazy.
So neurotic me, I start Googling and looking on X and all this stuff to see. And believe it or not, there's an issue at Newark Airport. And now, since he said that to me, I've been getting news alerts, New York Post. It's, on CNN, Fox News, everywhere they're reporting about Newark Airport is a disaster. It's a disaster. It's trash. I mean, you're talking about third world nation here.
Did you see the thing about the floppy disks?
What's the floppy disks?
So part of the reason why there's all these delays is technology is so outdated there, supposedly. I don't want to scare you, but yeah. Outdated air traffic control technology. The FAA is grappling with antiquated technology, including systems that rely on copper wiring and outdated radar equipment. And there was something about floppy disks, like really outdated tech.
I didn't hear about that. All I know is Newark is not safe and people have been saying do not fly into Newark. They lost 20% of their air controllers. And over the weekend, United canceled 35 round trip flights out of Newark. United.
Crazy. Flying is, and it's nuts because every airport you go to is crowded. Every time I fly, every flight is packed. The airports are all jammed. So you got to think, the airlines are, they're doing better, and flight travel, you think more people are spending money on this stuff, and it's like, it's gotten worse and worse. They, it feels like in the news we see, they used to want to keep bad news out of the papers and stuff, but in terms of like bad events, now every time there's some kind of near accident or mishap, which seems to be happening like on a weekly basis now, it's all over the news.
Yeah, so it not only is it all over the news, but it's a real shit show. I mean,
Turbulence has gotten worse.
Turbulence has gotten worse. Like every time you get on the plane, turbulence, it's worse. You land somewhere and they're like, "Oh, our gate isn't ready. We got to sit on the tarmac."
Have you mentioned at Newark? Did you see have you experienced the thing with the dogs?
No, what thing with the dogs?
I was flying to Houston out of Newark with my mother, like I think it was in August, and so we have TSA clear or whatever, and it didn't apply because all of a sudden there's days where it doesn't apply at Newark, and you just have to go into this area, and then there's like so you wait in line, and then there's another area where everybody just gets like, it's like you wait in a bullpen and you go forward, the line moves towards this other section of the area, and you walk, and then there's guys just walking around with these big German shepherds that are sniffing you. I mean, it's really bizarre.
I've never experienced that. Ever.
No, it was crazy. I took video of it. It was nuts.
No,
I hadn't seen that anywhere. I hate the TSA.
It's TSA's. I don't know how they hire these people, where they get them from, but they don't know what's going on.
Well, before you get there, the idea of having to like let somebody feel me up, it feels like such a violation. It just sets. So you asked the question, do I like flying? Like, I have to cool myself down when I'm going through that. When I'm going through that line, I hate that experience.
It used to be, you go on these airplanes and you go to the airport, and everyone's dressed up nice, and you got they're wearing suits, and they're giving you good food on the plane and everything. It's like a pleasure flying. It's like and somewhere along the lines, and you know what? I think I blame 9/11 for this, because 9/11 introduced these like hardcore TSA security. We didn't have that before. You could,
it's not constitutional for them to just come and they just created this thing out of they used 9/11 as like, we're just going to pat everybody down when you come through.
Right. So they're patting everybody down. It's like a mission to get to the gate. And
then
now it's
COVID,
like
they just treat you like, there were no laws. So they just empowered these TSA people and the stewardesses to treat you like shit.
Right.
It's crazy.
And every airport has different rules.
Yeah, I always, am I keeping my, on or off, laptops coming out, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
They had the shoe bomber, but for some reason, some people over 70 don't have to take off their shoes. I guess they're not capable of being shoe bombers.
Right. And if you have TSA pre-check, you don't have to take your shoes off. If you're under 12 years old, you don't have to take your shoe off.
I the whole thing is such an displeasurable, it's not a good experience. And
you went from getting really good food in the airplane to getting really nasty.
I never eat on the plane. And
no, if you're flying international, you get pretty decent food, but
I don't eat the only time when Asia, when I've flown to Asia, you get some good food on some of those airlines, but I typically stay away from except for like cookies and stuff like that. But
yeah, so it's gone real. But this Newark thing is a disaster. They're saying Newark can't handle the amount of number of planes that are coming in. And this is not like days to get this back in order, not days, not weeks, this is like
Forget it.
months.
This is New York City. This is one of the three. This is New York City. You know, the major. This is New York airport. This is a third world problem. This is
a third world. But did you hear about this that came out today, that air traffic control lost the radar on April 28th for 90 seconds?
Yeah.
Do you know what 90 seconds is?
Yeah, a lot can happen in 90 seconds.
A lot could happen in 90 seconds, especially when you don't have a radar.
Look, it's scary stuff. But have you ever, you know, the other thing, flying, you know, and I so often when I do like, you know, I get on that, you get like row 8, something United, which flies out of Newark a lot, right? So like when I go down to Florida, I fly United a lot out of there, and it comes out of Newark, but I get
not anymore. You're not.
Right. Well, now I got to rethink everything, right? So, but there's the seat, the first economy comfort seat, where it's right next to the bathroom. I get locked in on that bathroom, right? And it's a weird thing with people that fly. See, I don't do two things. You mentioned food. I don't eat on planes typically, and I don't look to get into that bathroom. My thing is I don't want to go in there. I go to that bathroom when it's a big problem, okay? When it's like I can't hold it anymore. But I'll watch, and once I get fixated on it, it's amazing with how these toilets are built, because the amount of people that are in and out of that thing, it's crazy.
Yeah, people are going in and out, in and out. But what about the people who go into the bathroom wearing just their socks?
Let me tell you something. The second we get in air, there's a line forming in the aisle to get in the bathroom, which makes no sense to me, because it's like if I'm there, I'm going. If I know that I've got to go, I'm going before I get onto the plane. I don't understand these people. I know one girl. I've got a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. She like literally she'll text like, and because it's now a funny thing between us, she looks at her menu days out and like has a process, like she's thinking about what she's going to eat on the plane. You know,
how does she get the way? Hold on. How does she get the menu before she gets on the plane? This is not like a restaurant.
No, look. First of all, it is. You apparently when you get your ticket and you know your leg, they say what's going to be served on that. You can see what's the in-flight menu. And so she was like, I'm like, you choose before, like you're going to a restaurant and you're thinking about what you're eating. There are people that do this.
That's bizarre. I've never done that.
And it's like, it's one thing if you're on, like, you know, if I'm flying like, you know, 8 hours, 9 hours, a 2-hour hop from here to, I'll tell you something, 2-hour hop from here to Miami, you know, the odds of me going to, you know, to the bathroom are very low. I don't need to eat. Like, I'm good for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I can do something else. These people that like take off their shoes, like, you know, they're ordering up their food. It's just a different experience for them. And to your point, like, it's one thing when the food, like you see these pictures from back in the day when like they're making Caesar salad in the middle of the aisle, you know, and it looks like a nice experience. The food is, you know, it's not appealing.
No, it's not.
You know, but now you got to worry. Now you got to worry about these delays. I mean, the Newark thing is crazy. Out of New York City, it's like you're rolling the dice to take off from Newark. It's really
So like you're rolling the dice. You don't know what's going to happen. You get to the airport, planes are never on time. I don't know what's going on. So like,
no, but this is like crazy.
So did you know this, that the Newark air control has been actually run by the airport in Philadelphia?
No, I didn't.
So Philadelphia is handling the air traffic control for Newark for like the last couple months. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is all over the place. I actually knew that before all this stuff was happening with Newark Airport.
What stuck out to me was the floppy disks.
The floppy disk is insane. But, you know, a lot of people now are blaming, you know, Trump and, you know, his whole administration, because this falls on Trump.
Yeah.
But this was happening way before Trump. They lost 2,000 air traffic controllers.
I mean, this has been happening for a long time. I mean, you think about, they just did the new wing in Newark, the new terminal. They did the
Terminal A.
Right. They did the new terminal in LaGuardia. LaGuardia was a dump for a long time. And even though that one terminal now, Terminal 2 at LaGuardia is great, like getting around there with all the construction and everything is still third world. JFK is a mess.
JFK is terrible. Do not go to JFK.
Right. JFK is terrible. I mean, this has been happening, for a very long time. And then, during COVID, when they were handing out stimulus and they started getting everybody fly, I mean, more and more, you touched on it at the beginning, the way people dress. I don't understand any people that fly in shorts bug me out. Like, unless you're doing like a 20-minute propeller prop from like Miami to the Bahamas, put a pair of pants on. You know what I mean? Like, it's
What
like,
about the people with the flip flops and the sandals?
and
they
in
take
TSA,
their
you're looking at bare feet. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. It grosses. I don't want to look at the thighs on, when I'm sitting, like, people, but like the spandex, people in pajamas. It's really, airports have gotten more and more. It's like riding the subway.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's become a real gross experience and pressure experience, and the level of like, they just don't care, right? To your, like, the delays, it's a game, right? They don't tell you because they want you to cancel, right? So
They don't tell you. They don't tell you why. It could be a variety of issues. The plane's not here. The pilot's not here. It's a mechanical issue. It's a weather issue.
Yeah.
It's a lot of issues.
Right, but they're not going to tell you. And, it's kind of like you're really just at the mercy. And the idea of them, like, there's no customer experience anymore. Sure, on like, look, you go on longer flights and you pay real premium. Like, you're talking about like when you're on some of these, the more luxe things. And it's going that way more and more, right? Like, all these airlines are now developing kind of these luxury, more services for the luxury customer.
Like, and what? I haven't seen anything.
Well, like Delta's got their experience where they have their own entrance for Delta One, like in LAX. They take you. You don't have to go in through the Gen Pop, airport.
Oh yeah, that I've seen. But that's like LAX has that. That's it.
Right, but
Paris has it. That's it.
But like, so you see it. I mean, just like there's stuff like this. Like, I'm like, La Company is the best experience out there, in my opinion. But you still have to deal with the TSA and everything. But like, they're coming out with more of that. Like, but like, I remember seeing an interview like Ryanair, right, which is the guy out of when he wanted to do it where people were standing in the back. Just give people the ability to stand like a subway. But the back there, you got to pay for every little pillows or whatever. I guess they don't give you anything, but there's no kind of like, customer service to it. It's just like, you're going to take whatever we say you're going to take. And it was made worse during COVID because they didn't pass any laws, our government, about the masks, about others, and they just empowered these stewardesses to, really act like the front line. And these people were, they were the authority. They didn't have any legal authority, but all of a sudden they were just allowed to treat you like shit.
They treat you like shit.
Right. You're just treated like shit, and it's like they threaten you like, oh, excuse me, what? And like, they'll just, so it's become a very unpleasurable experience for the most part.
Back to the COVID thing.
Yeah.
Do you think that we lost so many of these FAA people because of the jab? Remember, they came out and they said, "Oh, you can't work here if you didn't have the jab." And then they, a lot of people were like, "Well, I'm not getting it, so I'm going to walk off the job."
There were issues with pilots not wanting it. There were issues with pilots aging out. On the air traffic side, I didn't see it. I mean, I don't know what caused. I didn't see a good reason why there was such a drop off. I mean, other than budgets, but I mean, these airports and airplanes are all full. It's like. You see people flying. I fly pretty often. And rarely when I'm booking is it just like I've got to look around and because things are booked. And then when you get to the airport, they're all packed.
Always packed. Always lines, always packed. Oh, it's a disaster.
Yeah. I mean,
All right, let's go on to our next topic.
yeah.
We're going to talk about Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, has retired.
Yeah.
But he didn't step down yet. He's stepping down at the year end. So,
pretty impressive.
what do you
career.
think about Warren Buffett? What do you think about his legacy? What do you think about his money making capabilities? He's Warren Buffett. He's like the number one stock brain financier ever.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's just run like if you look at the richest billionaire list, he's pretty much the only guy up there that's not tech related, right? If you invested $1,000 in 1965, I think today with inflation, adjusting for inflation, it's around $5 million. That's pretty incredible. The numbers speak for themselves. The guy, obviously is, him and Munger. I was a Munger fan.
I think Munger was the brains of the operation,
right,
to be honest.
and
I don't think it was Warren Buffett. I think Warren Buffett took the seat. I'm Warren Buffett. I'm Warren Buffett. But I think Munger was the brains.
No, Munger was great. I've got this the Munger almanac. I mean, that guy was amazing. I think look, I mean, the guys, Munger, Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, incredible guys. Value investing, as good as they are. But the political shit, his hokey personality, it rubs me the wrong way. Like, guy lives. First of all, lives in the same house, goes to the Dairy Queen, like, it's like, and then when he got involved with like, I shouldn't pay more taxes than my secretary. Come on. Like, he's full of shit. He does everything. You go and pay my taxes. It's like, so is in the latter area, with him getting involved in the politics, like, just as kind of like a personality, I didn't like that shit.
Yeah, so the last 2 years, he's been actually exiting and selling off his positions.
Right.
So he's been getting out of it a lot of stuff.
Right. I mean, right now he looks like a genius, right? Cashing. I mean, cashing out. He went to cash pretty big. Him and Jamie Dimon, by the way, a lot of these guys.
Right. But is it a genius, or he just doesn't understand the market anymore?
Well, look, I mean, on April 5th, he looked like he looked like like an oracle, right?
Yeah, but he's been exiting way before.
No, but
April
I'm saying,
5th.
April 5th, when everything was depressed, we've come back now. We're at the same level as April 3rd, right? So it's kind of like, it's always funny with the market, but I think uncertainty, which there is a lot of right now in the market, and the economy, the stuff that, with this tariff, certainly the uncertainty, going to cash looks smart, that's always good, but we've made it back. The market's made it back to where it was on Liberation Day. We've gotten back to those levels. But yeah, he obviously,
so he's been exiting out. He's got a new replacement coming, Greg Abel. He's going to replace him as CEO. He's staying on as chairman. He's 94 years old?
Yeah.
No, is it 94 years old?
Yeah, I think that's right.
He's an old man. But I think there's more to the, more than meets the eye over here. I think that he just got to a point where he just doesn't understand. He's come out and he said, I don't really understand this tech today. I don't understand the tech today. Maybe he doesn't know what's going on. He's kind of like, I don't want to put my money in the wrong place. He exits the market, and he does kind of like a reset for this guy, Greg Abel, to come in, and then he does it. This Greg Abel is more of a tech guy. He knows what's going on. So you got Charlie Munger passed away last year. You got Warren Buffett, who's stepping down, and they're both going out on a high horse. You got the Berkshire Hathaway stockholders are, they're looking good, but I think a lot of those stockholders are going to probably exit their shares now that this happened. You you got to think about it. This guy, Greg Abel's coming in. We don't really know too much about him. He's been grooming him for a while now, but he's going to come in. He's going to have, he's not Charlie Munger. He's not Warren Buffett. What's he going to do for his stockholders? Is he going to be the same methodology? We don't know. So you have to imagine that a lot of the stockholders of Berkshire Hathaway are going to think twice. Maybe they're going to get out. Maybe a lot of the holdings, like today, Apple got beat up because of this announcement. You know, one of his major holdings is Apple. So you have to think, like, is this exit because he just wants to look good and like give a reset and let the new guy come in? And whatever happens, it's not Warren Buffett, it's not Charlie Munger's Berkshire Hathaway, it's Greg Abel's.
Going forward. I mean, look, it's also good policy if you don't understand something, do nothing. I think that's
right, but that's why you hire people that are smarter than you.
Yeah, look, I was always a Munger fan, and I don't disagree with your take on it. I think he was, I think Munger deserves a lot of the credit there.
All right, let's talk about another Munger.
Yeah.
Have you subscribed to any OnlyFans, Matthew?
No, I never have.
Have you looked at OnlyFans? Be honest.
No, I haven't. I have never paid a link. I've never clicked the link and paid for the OnlyFans subscriber.
Okay. Did you know that 10% of young adults are on OnlyFans?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that 1.4 million US women are on OnlyFans?
Right.
Between the ages of 18 to 24.
Yeah.
That
Amazing.
means that for every girl age 18 to 24, 1 in 10 is on OnlyFans.
Is that incredible or what? And I think, I feel like that's just going up and up and up and up.
All right. So here's my take. All right. You got the good, you got the bad. Okay. Number one, a lot of these girls, they need to make money. Look, they're not going into real estate. They're not going to be real estate brokers now anymore because the market's terrible. And there's a million real estate agents out there. So they're not going to be real estate agents. So what are they going to do? They're going to go be a real estate agent, or are they going to be a stripper, a hooker, or OnlyFans? So they're making a lot of money on OnlyFans.
Well, I'll tell you something, Rudy. And I'm in the streets, right? You found yourself a great gal. You've been off the streets for a while. I'm in the streets here. I'm seeing this at the street level. I think what's happening here is, in our society, you have social media is bringing to the masses a lot of things on the, whether it be experiences, material goods, like it's showing everybody what exists out there. Like, why do wristwatches now get people in London getting robbed by, for their wristwatches, Miami, everywhere. You have Instagrams that are devoted to watches. So people that would otherwise not know how much a Patek Philippe is worth, this watch is worth, $232,000. They would otherwise not know it, but there are pages on Instagram that tell them, right? There's experiences. People are going on social media, seeing all these incredible locations around the world. People are seeing, these new member clubs or hot restaurants that they need to get to. And, these things, these items, these destinations, they have real barriers to entry. They cost a lot of money, and inflation keeps getting up and up and up. And, if you're a young woman out there, you have one currency that's age old, and that's, your body. And I think more and more, society also, you put that against, what our society has been doing, an attack on the, nuclear family, attack on some of the traditional values. They're mainstreaming pornography, right? I mean, porn stars are now, celebrities. They're influencers. There's no real stigma, at least with, that generation.
Right, but not all OnlyFans are nudity whatever. There are legitimate OnlyFans creators out there, and there are OnlyFans that are not showing their boobs and whatever.
Fair point.
Wawas. There are OnlyFans that are
I don't know
going on
about
there.
that.
They just have a subscription.
I don't know about that part of it.
I don't
fair
either,
point.
but
Fair
I've
point.
heard.
Fair point. Look,
So-
to the plus side, life is tough. This is a way to monetize, and the money is like, how do you turn your back on it? And I mean, I'm just talking to that specific part of it, which is like, that's the part that I'm familiar with. Every time you open up the New York Post, there's like once a week, there's an article about some, young girl that's making $3 million a month on OnlyFans.
Well, I mean, think about the mathematics here. Okay,
it's incredible.
You are on Instagram. You're a pretty girl.
Yeah.
Right. You're not making money on Instagram. Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're making some from marketing, whatever, advertising. But then you promote your OnlyFans account, and say you have, I don't know, 200,000 fans on Instagram, and say 10,000 subscribe to you on OnlyFans at $9.99 a month.
Amazing.
That's $1.1 million a year.
And I mean, the numbers go up from there. It's crazy.
And they go up and going up. Let me tell you a little story, Matthew. Okay. Many years ago, I think it was in the year, I want to say 2009.
Yeah.
No, wait. No. Sorry, not 2009. I think it was 2013. Anyway, a couple of years ago, I had this idea. It was called Fan Key, and I was developing it with my partner Hector, and we were developing it, and it was a social media platform, but it was subscription based, and it was supposed to be targeting athletes, musicians, and actors. Okay, and basically, you subscribe. There was a 3-tier price option. You could do weekly, monthly, yearly. You could also combo. We were building it out. We built it out, and we were having an issue because we were finding that maybe people weren't going to pay $9.99 a month to look at LeBron James and his stupid shit. So I said to Hector, Hector, why don't we go to the girls, the strippers and the porn stars, and open it up?
Yeah.
And you know what Hector said to me?
What did you say?
That is beneath us. We are not going to go stoop to that level because we are not trash. And you know what I say?
What?
Hector, you fucking idiot. We
Right.
could have been billionaires.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But society was different back then, 2009, 2010.
Yeah, but we were ahead of the game. We could have been.
Absolutely.
We could have brought the trash.
You could have been the one bringing in the
mainstream.
trash. I would have done it with you.
Yeah, so that's what happened. And we ended up selling Fan Key, not for a lot of money, but
Good name,
know.
Fan Key.
Fan Key.
It's good.
Yeah, the key.
Yeah,
for
look,
the
I
fans.
don't begrudge anybody making money, as long as they're not, but it's definitely on the rise. I think, and yeah, there's other, I guess not everything is sex based on OnlyFans. It's certain, but that's, I don't know, that's what comes to mind when I'm thinking about it. And it's like, if you're a girl coming up and it's like, that's independence, that's everything,
Yeah, and you're making money, and but like it's a little trashy. Hey, check out. I'm on OnlyFans.
Look. I was hanging out with I was hanging out. I was
You were hanging out with an OnlyFans model?
Well, no, but yesterday I got made fun. This was my point. So yesterday I got made. I was talking to a friend of mine. She's 28 years old. And I mentioned something about like in talk. I was like Facebook, like somebody, and she looked at me. She goes, "You have Facebook?" And like she giggled, and I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "That's like for boomers," and I was like, "Huh? That's for boomers?" Like, what I'm saying is like, and I started asking her. I was like, "So do you have TikTok?" She's like, "No, I don't do TikTok." She's like, I was like, "What about?" So I know. My point is, that younger generation, and she's that one's 28, but I'm saying like as you get younger, I don't know that the stigma, I don't know what it's like. Like if you're a 22-year-old girl, I mean, how many times do you like I said, I'm and it's maybe a different topic, different conversation, but I mess around with some of these dating apps. You see content creator on a lot of these girls' bios. Okay. content creator covers wide ground, my man. So
Yeah, I know. They could be a content creator.
They
Maybe
could
we
be-
should start an OnlyFans.
well, you know, gotta
So,
think about our
someone
act.
gonna pay to
Yeah.
look it up? I mean, I'm not saying let's get nude, but maybe we could put content on OnlyFans. Is someone gonna pay $3.99 to look at?
I think you
see what
set
we're
your
gonna do?
own rate, so you set your own rate. Some of them go much higher. No, and there is I saw there's a somebody said there's a new platform called Slushy or Slushable or something. They're trying to they're just messing around with the economics to the creators. Try and make it a run at OnlyFans, but I think it's only gonna get bigger here. I mean, in uncertain markets, there's certain things that are very certain and very elastic. With the inelastic. I mean, there's an audience.
Yeah, I mean, people will pay. There's a lot of there's
Yeah.
guys out there that will pay, and
Yeah.
girls that will pay, and people will
I
pay.
mean, again, it's kind of like if you think about these dating apps. So when they started coming out, I remember like 2014, I had just late 2013, I had just started a new relationship, and that's when Tinder was really starting to take off. And in the beginning, Tinder guys that I knew that would go on business trips, they would just swipe right, swipe right, swipe right, swipe right, at anything, and that was the utility of that app. And then when you would meet people that couples that met on one of those apps, they wouldn't tell you, right? They'd come up with a story because there was a stigma with meeting through these apps. Now I don't think there is at all. Like you come across people, they're like, yeah, oh, we couples, they met on this and that. There's no more stigma. If you put that down the supply chain to the OnlyFans, I don't know if content creator. I think more and more, if you're, I'm sure like, girls in their 20s are probably talking to other content creators, and it's not, doesn't have the stigma that, our generation looks at. I think it's just going to rise.
Well, it goes back to the whole
obviously 1 in 10 at 18 to 24-year-old girls in America, 1 in 10 are doing this, right? That's a pretty big.
Right. It goes back to the whole airplane thing. Before we used to get like filet mignon and lobsters on the plane, and and now you get saltines.
By the way, I mean, it's in the game. Who the biggest, what was it, for like a couple years running, the biggest content creator on OnlyFans was Black China.
Oh, yeah. Well,
right.
So before, a couple of years ago, you were, the big thing was I'm dating a fashion model.
Right.
Now it's I'm dating OnlyFans stripper.
Exactly. Everything's kind of like pop culture, popular culture's kind of followed it, right?
Yeah, it's gone. Society in a whole is going downhill.
It's going down the shit tube, man.
And you're talking to the guy who's wearing a hat every time we do a podcast, not wearing a suit. Speaking of wearing, I like your jacket, Matthew. You wearing? Can you show the view? New York Knicks today. Game 1, second round. New York Knicks versus the Boston Celtics. What do you think? You think we got a chance over here?
I'm a Knicks fan, born and raised. The 90s was my team. I think the NBA today has done everything to destroy the game. I don't love the gameplay, but why that's relevant, I think the hot hand in today's NBA can go a far way just because, they're all popping these shots from like, half court, and we've got a few guys that can shoot it. I think we came off of tough to watch at times, that series against the Pistons, but I think we're mentally in a good space. I look for an upset tonight. I think
look for an upset. Let's go get that upset. Let's go Knicks.
I think we take game 1.
All right, there you go. Game 1. Celtics are a little bit beat up. Maybe we'll see game 1. Speaking of beat up,
how do you not show up for tonight? Come on, game 1, Knicks.
I know we got to wrap this up because the Knicks are going to be playing soon. So let's speed it up to our next topic. We got President Donald Trump wants to reopen Alcatraz. If you don't know what Alcatraz is, that's the Rock. That's in San Francisco.
Welcome
and that
to the
is
Rock.
the prison. So he wants to reopen it. Matthew, what do you think about reopening up Alcatraz that's been closed since 1963?
Did he say exactly why he wanted to reopen it?
I have no idea. Have you ever been to Alcatraz?
No.
Yeah, I've been to
I love-
Alcatraz.
Really?
I've been
That's
there.
cool. You
I
took
mean,
the
I wasn't
tour?
locked up there, but I went to go visit Alcatraz.
Do they really
It's,
put you in the cell and shut the thing?
No, you could go in the cell. I mean, let me tell you something.
Remember the movie The Rock?
Yeah, that was a movie.
Right, but in the movie, the people that were doing the tours, like you're doing the tour, they say, "Okay, go into the cell," and then they shut the cell.
Yeah, no, they didn't shut the cell on me.
Oh, okay.
No, I went there. You get to see. There's like famous like prisoners, and then you
Al
see where they
Capone.
were. Who?
Al Capone.
No, Al Capone was there, right? And then and it's like it's
Welcome
far
to the
away, so you
Rock.
can't really escape. It's like if you were to escape, you got to jump in the water, and you probably die. There's the big story about the three guys, the three prisoners that escaped. They
Right.
think maybe they're alive, maybe they're not, but it's a thing. The prison it's like it's shut down because it was in ruins. It's like deteriorating conditions. It's not good. The salt water around it. I mean, if he wants to reopen this thing, you're talking about billions.
What? I didn't see why has he got such a hard on for The Rock? Why is he excited for the Alcatraz?
Because he wants to put the prisoners in there. I don't know. It's a good prison.
I don't know.
It's far away.
It's funny.
These guys can't even save the prison in New York.
What are you talking about? We got Newark Airport is
got Newark
non-functioning like
Airport.
floppy disks that we're talking
Floppy
about
disks.
Alcatraz. Look, I don't really. What's
I'm blanking on the name. The prison over here in New York that Diddy's in right
Rikers
now.
Island? No, he's in
Rikers.
he's in Metropolitan Detention Center.
Oh, he's in Rikers. They want to shut down Rikers because it's falling apart.
Well, they're putting up these towers down in Tribeca. They're putting up like really nice. Have you seen the designs for the new prisons in New York? While we're on this topic,
No, they have nice prisons now.
They're
Are
like
you talking about Swedish prisons?
No. New York is this has all been green lit. They're doing like $3 or $4 billion facilities, skyscrapers that are prisons, and like when I say $1 billion, like there was this comparison with these prisons. They cost more than like if you ask it, like more than some of the big buildings on Billionaire Road that have gone up. These are $1 billion developments that we're doing, and we're putting them in the middle of like nice neighborhoods. Some of them. One's going.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You go from and who's paying for all this? The taxpayers are paying for it. We're all paying for it to put these prisoners in $1 billion units.
Yeah. So I mean, from that respect, I much prefer the idea of them being on some island like Alcatraz than being in the middle of my neighborhood.
Right.
Right. But I don't know what got him so excited about Alcatraz. I missed. Maybe he watched The Rock over the weekend. It's a great movie.
Maybe.
That could, I mean, he was, maybe that's what got him going on it.
I don't know. Maybe he watched the movie. But speaking of movies, he also wants to put 100% tariffs on foreign-made movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know too much about the movie business or how this works, but the reason why movies are made either in Canada or New Zealand, in the UK, or in Turkey, and what's the other country that's big in movies right now? It's one of those Eastern European, not Romania, something over. Anyway,
Great.
something over there. The reason is because the government gives you tax breaks,
right?
Incentives, and some governments actually pay you to come there to film the movie.
Right.
And why? Because you come and you're filming the movie, and basically it's a whole industry. So you're supporting thousands of people.
Oh, it's local employment. It's
local employment. Yeah, local people come to work. They're working on the set, but then you also have the hotels, you have the food industry, you have the transportation industry. You have all these industries, and you're putting up millions and millions of dollars into the
communities. You have flights flying out of Newark, going to that place.
Maybe if you're lucky, your flight will take off from Newark and land in one of these places.
Right.
And then you film in, these different countries. And a lot of Hollywood for years has been filming in Canada and they're
Canada's
saying they're
taken a lot
filming
of
in
it.
New York.
Right.
And if you look, this building looks like it's New York, but it looks nothing like New York.
Yeah, it's Toronto.
So now President Trump wants to tariff all these foreign-made movies, 100% tariff coming into the U.S.
I was looking. I don't know how and Letnick said we're on it. But what do you call it? So it's funny. So like Mission Impossible is largely filmed abroad, but I guess that's an American studio. I mean, I don't know if they really flushed through how that would work. I guess do we not get to see foreign movies anymore, or
no? How are you going to film a movie that's based in Paris, or a TV show like Emily Paris? What is it going to be? Emily in Newark?
But
she's going to be filming in Newark, and this is supposed to be Paris.
They're going to start having, they're going to. We should start right now, Boychuk. We should start writing content about Emily in Grand Junction. We should, because I guess that's the
Jessica
content.
in Newark,
right? Jessica,
a young girl moves to Newark to
take off.
Yeah,
Get stuck in Newark.
She moves to Newark, or no. A young girl, Jessica, comes to Newark Airport, but her plane never takes off, so she's stuck in Newark.
Starts an OnlyFans account. Right, starting an
OnlyFans account.
Right.
In Newark. And she meets a boy.
Yeah, right. Who used to work as an FAA tin pusher. Then he left.
So, I don't know how this is going to work for him, because I did a lot of research on this today on how tariffs. It's really complicated, because a lot of these movie studios, they film in other places. Some of them film here. Some of them film, across the pond, and then they come here and they do the editing here. There's a lot of moving parts. I don't know how he's tariffing it. Is he tariffing it on the cost of the production? Is it on the sale of the movie? Because a lot of production studios, they produce the movie off site, then they sell to a Netflix, or they sell to Universal, and how do they do that? So there's a lot of moving parts. There's definitely a lot of things that are not clear cut.
Ben Affleck was where was he at? I forget where he was. He was interviewed somewhere recently, and he was going off about how they have caused this exodus from California because of the policies there. So I mean, look, it's an issue, right? I mean, we should, instead of raising taxes on these, we should be offering the same abatements that Canada does and be competitive that way.
Right, there should be some kind of there is tax credits, because I remember that New York used to give tax credits to people that came to film here.
Yes, but it just gets to competitive, right? I mean, Canada was obviously a big cost savings to go film there instead of
right, because the hotels here are very expensive. You come to film in New York, you're paying an arm and a leg for hotels, and you're paying an arm and a leg for people to come to work. So the tax incentives might be good, but you're paying a shitload of money for these people to stay, live,
right?
And
I don't know
workers.
I don't know how the tariff. To your point, like I don't know on the tariffs how that's gonna be implemented. It's been an issue for a long time. Maybe this is a political thing. Him thinking that he could pick up some of the liberals in Hollywood by saying I'm fighting for you, but I don't know. The tariff thing is going to be interesting because
Well, I mean, it makes sense. He wants to increase the amount of people that are working in the United States, right? So you want people to work, you want people to come here to work, you want to increase that, but it doesn't really work like that, because then you're dealing with a lot of unions, Teamsters, all this stuff. The price comes up. Studios are already struggling.
It's the same everywhere. Our conditions here, regulatory and tax burdens in America, are very tough, and like all these other industries, the movie industry has migrated to places where these costs are lower, and going about it with tariff hammer. We'll see. I have no idea how he's going to implement that on.
I don't know how he's going to do it.
I saw there was like a funny meme that went up, like executive order Trump mandates that they reopen Blockbuster.
I don't know what's going on over here, but
I like Blockbuster.
We'll see if he ends up opening up Alcatraz and filming movies. How this all handled. The movies suck now as it is, so I don't know. They're going to make it worse if you can't spend money.
The truth is, the movies suck. Like, I stumbled on Nora, and I liked that movie. I had no idea it was up for any Academy Award. I actually watched it like 2 days before the Academy. I didn't know the Academy Awards were on it, but for the I don't see new movies. I never hear about new movies. I used to love going to the movie theater. By the way, going to a movie theater, taking a family to a movie theater is a few $100,
It's a few $100.
right? I mean, by
It's
the time
disgusting.
the thing at Twizzlers is like $10.
Yeah, I know. You got a popcorn. The popcorn's disgusting. You wet the water. You're
For
walking
a
out
soda.
there a
By the
couple
way, the
$100.
soda's bigger than my torso, like the
Yeah.
small one. I mean, it's just crazy.
It's-
Last time I went, actually, I saw. It was last summer. I saw Wolverine versus Deadpool, and everything. I mean, the place was a pigsty, also.
Yeah.
And there was like an hour of the start time is whatever they say, 6:45, 6:30. You get there, you have an hour of coming attractions now, commercials. So I was done with my soda and my popcorn or whatever. I tried to go do more.
Right. Well,
before the movie started.
It goes down to the same thing.
Yeah, they fuck you at the drive-through.
But it's the same thing. Whether you're taking the airplane,
right,
or you're dating an OnlyFans girl,
right,
or you're going to see a movie now, standards need to be lower, and the service has gone down.
Yeah, my because you reserve seats.
You reserve seats.
It's actually interesting. I'll just say this: I didn't know because I really don't frequent the movie theaters anymore. When I got there, you reserve by seat, right? At some of these, and it was empty, and I was kind of far away because I got in my seat. There's a whole thing, but I got the seats late, so they're empty. So I went to the front. And I said, "Hey, I'm going to move down," and they said, "No, you can't. Like, it's sold out." I said, "It's empty," and literally, I guess all the kids, it was a Marvel movie. They came in later.
Yeah, because they didn't want to see the coming attractions. They know. You didn't know. They knew.
I was done with my popcorn and my bullshit by, I still had 20 minutes before the movie came on.
That's
and
because
I
they
helped
knew.
the guy mop up like my area because it was sticky, the seats. It was terrible.
Yeah, they knew about the coming attractions.
They knew.
You didn't know about the coming attractions. All right, let's go on to the next. Hopefully, we'll be seeing Emily in Newark soon.
Right.
It'll be a great series. Speaking of Emily in Paris, did you see what happened in Paris yesterday?
Hailstorm.
Huge hailstorm. People are sitting outside enjoying. They're in T-shirts.
Wild,
it's beautiful weather, and all of a sudden, boom! Starts hailing. Crazy. Hailing. It's insane. I saw videos, saw pictures. It's crazy, and they're talking about global warming. I don't know. Is that like something like is?
I don't know. They're related to that. The Antarctica ice mass gained. So they're always talking about how what's his name? He created the internet. Al Gore. Yeah, he said that the oceans are boiling and that Antarctica was going to melt away by 2007 or something.
Yeah,
they've gained. So it's been a net gain there now. It's gone the other way. There's more ice.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Hailing in Paris in the summer. Today it was freezing in New York.
Today was freezing in wet New York.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. All right, our final topic.
Yeah.
Our final topic. I don't know how well you know the new New York laws and labor laws in New York. Do you know labor laws in New York?
With respect to what?
So, what you have to train employees.
Yeah, I mean,
there's labor laws. You have a main thing is all your employees, if you have employees, they have to take a sexual harassment class. Once a year. You got to take the certificate, and every year you got to take it because maybe something changes, and you got to take it. You have to take it. Your employees have to take it. You got to take it online. It's an online test. Anyway, there's a new thing.
Okay.
Because it's New York, and they love regulations and they like laws. But there's a new one.
What is it?
There's a new thing that if you are a retail store owner, okay, you have to train your employees in case you're getting robbed, not to panic.
Yeah.
Do not call the police.
No.
Instead, you will be supplied by the retail owner with something called a panic button.
The bodegas.
Well, no. So this was a law that came in that you have to train. So all retail have to train for this panic button. But today, Mayor Adams, the great mayor of New York, announced that 500 New York City bodegas will be outfitted with a panic button.
That's good. Let them
Yeah, so instead of when you're getting robbed, Matthew, and you work in a bodega, instead of calling the police or instead of going down for your shotgun, you have to press the panic button. And what does the panic button really do?
Does it go to the cops?
I don't think so. I think the panic button calls the store owner, and the store owner has to decide what to do.
Really?
That's what I think happens.
Well, that's crazy.
And if you press the panic button and then it calls the police, the police are going to come there in 20 minutes. It's already going to be over. They're going to rob you.
Right. Look,
and then you have to get to the panic button.
God forbid they actually deal with the source of the problem, which is the robbers.
Instead of them paying to the source of the issue millions of dollars to fight the crime and put the criminals in the jail and tell them to stop doing it and keep them in the $1 billion jails that they're building.
Right.
I don't know who they're putting in the $1 billion jails. They're probably going to put, Joe Tortellini from the Gambino, whatever, crime family who just, defrauded somebody, instead of putting up Chi-Chi, who robbed a bodega in Inwood, and tried to shoot somebody. They're going to let that guy out. But instead of spending the millions of dollars of putting these stupid panic buttons in, who God knows who they're going to call, and they're still going to get robbed, spend the money to combat the crime. Yeah, spend the millions of dollars to combat the crime, not these stupid panic buttons.
It's ridiculous
that you're going to have to press. Someone's coming in. Put your hands up. Well, no, I can't. I got to press the panic button. No, put your hands up. This is a robbery. No, I got to press the button. I got to press the button. I got to press the button. It's a fucking shit show.
Ridiculous.
And Adams is over here saying, I'm going to spend millions of dollars on the panic button. We're going to put a panic button in there.
Well, look, Cuomo, you want to talk? Cuomo passed the bail reform, so you can't keep them in. You got this crazy DA. They're not keeping any of the criminals in there. They're just empowered. They've gone after anybody that tries to step in, right? Like any of the civilians that step in. So they're telling, they're doing everything they can to incentivize the criminals. And the best thing they come up with is, don't worry, we'll give you an extra panic button so you can get so you can, Look, I don't know. Maybe, I guess, as a deterrent, you hope that maybe some robbers now are nervous about that panic button. But, maybe now it's, I guess, the gambit is, the bet is, can I beat the response time?
Yeah, so the police come in like 15, 20 minutes if they show up at all. And they got this panic button that they're going to press. Right. I don't know. Anyway, this has been episode 11. We got to go catch the Knicks game. It's coming on.
Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. And
happy Cinco de Mayo.
We'll see you next time.